The love be so fake and the hate it be so real. Man, sometimes in life, the reason why you receiving so much hate is because people is jealous and envious. And the reason for that is because they don't have the courage, to proceed in the midst of adversity. They don't have the heart, to go against the norm, against what the world is doing and what everybody else is doing. You see what I'm saying? Because when you grew up in a life of dysfunction, it's easy to become complacent, but one thing you have to understand is that, if you continue to do the same things that you're doing in life, if you continue, to do what the world is doing, i.e., you know, uh, what we would call hustling, you know what I mean? Like, I don't knock nobody's hustle, you know what I mean, and what they do, you know what I mean? But at the same time, you know, if you continue in that path, destruction is inevitable, you see? And so that's why it's so important, to have a mindset that, you want to change. Change is important. Change is a part of life. We see the seasons change. You got summer, winter, fall, spring, so everything is always changing. It's changing from night to dark. You see what I'm saying? So you have to understand that change is inevitable. And see, what happens a lot of times is people become complacent because of the environment that they have grew up in. So because of the environment they grew up in, they become a product of that. You see, but you just have to have the courage to want to separate, to want to stand out, to want to be something different. You see, you know, some people in life had head starts. Some people, were trust fund babies and, had silver spoons in their mouth. But, when you come from where I come from, when you come from the bottom, when you come out the trenches, you see what I'm saying? When you getting it out the mud, you got to be determined. You know what I mean? Your determination determines your success. You know what I mean? Your will, to see different. Your will to have something better out of life when you come from nothing. When you come from dirt, when you come from rags. You see what I'm saying? You have to understand this, that, when you're only going to have a few friends in your life. You're going to be able to count on your hands how many friends as you get older. You're going to start to see, how fake people is. You're going to see how, your homeboys, they backdooring you for your little yeah. You hear me? You're going to see, how, when you get in trouble, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be your homeboys on the stand, you know what I mean? And hopefully it's not too late, to the point to where you can't come back from there. You're going to see it's going to be some of your homeboys that's going to set you up to get whacked, homie. You know what I mean? So, you have to take this into mind, you know what I mean? Because, we've been fed a lot. We've been fed to think that, yeah, you got to do this, you got to do that. You know what I'm saying? You got to do this and that to be successful. You got to go to school, you know what I'm saying, and get a college education and get degrees to be successful. You see what I'm saying? But when you doing things against the norm, it's always going to be opposition. And that's how you know you on the right path, man. You know what I mean? So, you got to take that in mind, man, that the love be so fake and the hate, it be so real. You know what I mean? But what you do, in the midst of adversity is what determines who you are. You see what I'm saying? Because money don't make the man make the money. You see, and character is the most valuablest thing that you can ever build in this life. We builders, homie. You know what I'm saying? We masons. We builders off the cornerstone. You hear me? So you just got to take that into account. I hope that, I was able to, give you some jewels and stuff to help you in your life. You know what I mean? Because, you young bloods out here need to know, man, that, if you don't buckle down now, and have a plan for your life and a vision for your life, man, you're going to end up in your old age resentful, bitter, because, you didn't, achieve the things in life that you wanted to achieve. So, man, like, Like, share, and subscribe. You dig what I'm saying? Uh, you know, I don't know how real I can be than that. You know what I mean? So yeah, a lot of times when you get old, you know what I mean, you become habitual. You know, you become you don't want to change your ways. You see what I'm saying? But you have to understand, in life you have to be able to adapt. So with that, I close. Shalom.